Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. In today's video, a book hauling confession. I've been buying a lot of books. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all of the books that I have hauled recently and explaining why my TBR numbers went up in January instead of down. So yeah, in the month of January I did haul quite a few books, as you will have seen if you saw my giant TBR numbers update. And yeah, I really don't have any excuse for that. And unfortunately, so far in February, we've had 2 weekends this month, and on both weekends I bought some more books. So there's obviously absolutely no hope for me and not buying books this year, and no hope for the giant TBR going down in the foreseeable future unless I get reading. The first book that I actually acquired in January was this one, which if you've watched my wrap up you will have already seen because I've already read this one. And that was Fair Lady Volume 1 by Brian Shermer, Claudia Balboni, Marissa Louise and Shari Chank Hammer. And this one is just really stunning. I was drawn in by the cover, I was drawn in by the blurb. This combines fantasy and mystery. Mystery has always been a favourite genre for me, and fantasy is rapidly making itself known in my reading life. This sounded like the perfect combination of the two. It was indeed a very good combination of the two, and I really liked it. And the reason this one was acquired was because it was in the clearance sale bin in Waterstones, and it was only £3. So I don't think that one's too bad, especially as I read it straight away. The artwork in this is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to see if I can show it a bit better than I did in my last video. Hopefully you can see that. I really did like all of the different images in this one. I mentioned in my giant TBR update that I have been treating myself to quite a few graphic novels, and that is true. What's happened is that lately I have started reading Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 8 with my good friend Jack from Spread Book Joy, and I have the book that I'm reading that from at the moment not with me, but this is the second volume. We're going to be reading our way through season 8. So if you're not familiar with Buffy, it had 7 series on TV, and then after that it went on in graphic novel form. So there were comics produced that formed an 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th season of this TV show, and they are supposed to be canon as well. So it's taken me a very long time to actually acquire both volumes of season 8. Then it's taken me a while to start reading them. So while Jack and I had started reading season 8, I started to look out for the graphic novels that would make up season 9, because they are quite difficult to get hold of, and I could tell from just starting 8 that I was really enjoying it and would like to find out what happens next. Have made a few Buffy purchases, all of them from like second-hand sites including eBay and World of Books. I won't go into huge amounts of depth on these ones, but I've managed to acquire 3 volumes from season 9 out of the 5 that were made, and I've managed to acquire 1 so far from 10, of which I think there are 6 volumes. So we have season 9 volume 1, Freefall. This is the one that I will be ready to read when I finish my 2 massive season 8 volumes. And I also have picked up volume 2, which is called On Your Own, and volume 5, which is still sealed at the moment, called The Core. So even though it will increase my TBR massively, I am still on the lookout for volumes 3 and 4 to complete my my series 9. I have picked up one volume of season 10, mainly because these don't seem to come up at a reasonable price very often, so I don't want to spend an absolute fortune on these, so I am snapping them up if I see them for like sort of face value rather than massively inflated prices. Because these are out of print, they are a little bit difficult to come by, so that's why I've been buying a few lately. Definitely going to be an ongoing problem for the TBR, because obviously I can't read those ones until I've read season 8 anyway. So I did also treat myself to Saga Volume 2. I started reading Saga directly after Christmas when I picked up Saga Volume 1, which was sent to me as a Christmas present by Gemma from Gemma Books. I really liked it. I picked up the next volume secondhand online, and I can't wait to read this. If it's anywhere near as good as Volume 1, then I'm definitely going to like this series. Looking forward to going back into this sort of sci-fi fantasy world and following the main characters from Volume 1 in the next part of their story. That one should be great. Those are all of the graphic novels, but I have also picked up some books as well. And the first 3 books I actually picked up in January were 3 books that the lovely Gemma from Gemma Books very kindly sent to me. Gemma has sent me If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin, and assures me that this is a very good book. I've been wanting to read James Baldwin for ages. Actually one of the new authors I wanted to get to last year, and I still haven't read anything by James Baldwin, shamefully, even though at one point I had one of his books out of the library and ready to read with a book club. I never did get round to it, so I very much look forward to reading If Beale Street Could Talk. I don't know a huge amount about it, but I think although Baldwin wrote both fiction and non-fiction, I believe that this is one of his novels, but it is quite short. Might be a good pick for Shorty September if I don't get to it before then. I don't really want to know huge amounts of it because I would like to go in not knowing very much. So thank you, Gem, for sending me this one. Also thank you to Gem for sending me a graphic memoir. This one is Guantanamo Voices, True Accounts from the World's Most Infamous Prison, edited by Sarah Merck. I think that in this, journalist Sarah Merck has interviewed various people about Guantanamo Bay, and a team of different graphic artists have illustrated the stories that she has collected. I've got 10 illustrated stories in here from all different perspectives, but all related to how Guantanamo Bay has affected the people who have told their stories in his lives. Gemma really liked this when she read it, and I'm very much looking forward to also reading it. It sounds incredibly hard-hitting, but I really do like to learn about things through the medium of graphic memoirs, and I really like that there are all different graphic artists in this one, so can't wait to get to that one. Also very into reading non-fiction at the moment, so I'm glad to have another non-fiction to pick up. Third book sent to me by Gemma was Ghostly Tales, Spine-Chilling Stories of the Victorian Age. And this one is basically exactly what it says on the tin. It's ghost stories. I think that each one has its own illustration, and it's just a really stunning book, and it has a lot of authors in it who I'm interested in. I do think I've actually read some of these tales before. One that is particularly a brilliant ghost story that I've read before is The Signalman by Charles Dickens, and that is the cool illustration for that one. Very much looking forward to another ghostly story from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, which is in here. So thank you again, Gemma, for sending me all of those lovely books. Next we have a book that was bought for me by my mum. I have mentioned before that my mum and I are doing a sort of book subscription for each other this year as our Christmas present to each other, and what that entails is we're going to go to a bookshop every month, have a special book shopping day treat and buy each other a book. We were meant to start that in February so that we could read our Christmas books in January and not get more, but we needed cheering up, so we decided to go ahead and start in January, because that's how we roll. There has been a lot of interest in me getting my mum on the channel to talk about this subscription. That probably will still happen in a future video. When we go to our book shopping adventure in February, I will hopefully be getting a bit of footage of that and maybe talking about our choices of books. But January was just sort of an extra, so this is the book that my mum kindly bought for me, which I chose. Went to the lovely Sevenoaks bookshop and I picked out Death and the Conjurer by Tom Mead. I think I've heard about this one on Katie's channel, Books and Things. It just sounded right up my street because I believe this is a locked room mystery and it's set in 1936 in London, and the first line of the blurb is, "A celebrity psychiatrist is discovered dead in his locked study. There are no clues, no witnesses and no murder weapon, and seemingly no way for a killer to have escaped unseen." I absolutely couldn't resist that blurb. Sounds brilliant. I know Katie loved it. I think Ollie also loved it from Criminoli. And yeah, I thought that this was also a stunning cover with all of the lovely gold highlights on there and the golden bird that I really, really like. There's another golden bird on the back actually. So yeah, I thought this one was really, really beautiful. Really like the concept, and I can't wait to read another locked room mystery. I was hoping to have read this by now, but I have since had to go swiftly on to some of my February reads. So once I've read some of those, I will definitely be picking up Death and the Conjurer because it looks excellent. I'm really, really excited about this one. The rest I bought myself. As I mentioned, we've had 2 weekends in February. I've bought books both weekends and I have no excuses. First weekend in February, I was having a day out with my husband and went into an Oxfam shop, which is always a mistake, but this one's not adding to the giant TBR because it's actually an Agatha Christie book that I felt I needed in my collection. I only previously had this in like a bind up edition, so I don't have an individual copy of it. That was a bargain at £1.49. Yeah, it's going to add to my Agatha Christie collection, so excited for that. Towards Zero is one I've wanted to reread for a while. I think I mentioned it in my top 10 Agatha Christie books because it is a favourite as far as I can remember. But I would really like to revisit this to see if it's still a favourite. There is a really, really valid reason for this next buy, and I bought it with my Waterstones points, so it was actually free on this occasion, and that was The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy, and I've been reading the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy, The Obelisk Gate, which I was buddy reading with Gemma, and we just finished it this week. So last week when I was out with my husband, I just knew I was going to need this really, really soon because the second book is so good. I knew I would need to go straight on to The Stone Sky. I haven't started this yet, but only because I've been finishing up our FOMO book club book, Tipping the Velvet. But as soon as that is finished, I am going straight on to The Stone Sky. I thought The Obelisk Gate was fantastic and I can't wait to go on to this one. Very excited that I saved up my Waterstones points and got this one for free. So finally, yesterday I went with my husband to Rochester, which is featured in a video before, and I thought that the danger point was going to be going in Baggins Bookshop, and I will link the video in the description down below. When I did go to Baggins Bookshop in Rochester, it is meant to be the biggest second-hand bookshop in the UK, I think, maybe just in England, not sure. And I thought that that was where the danger was going to come in, but no. First of all, I visited an Oxfam, and I came a little bit unstuck in the Oxfam because I found these 2 John Wyndham Penguin books. Last month I read and really enjoyed The Midwich Cuckoos, and I didn't have any more John Wyndham books left on my giant TBR. So naturally when I saw these I had to rectify that. I picked up the Chrysalids. These are the same sort of covers as my copy of The Midwich Cuckoos, which I read last month. I actually did buy that one secondhand from Baggins in Rochester, coincidentally. But yeah, I found these ones in the Oxfam just down the road. So we have the Chrysalids, which has got some kind of chickens fighting, I think. But I think this one is about a world that has been changed by genetic mutation. And I'm really, really looking forward to this one. It's one of John Wyndham's most famous. I also picked up Trouble with Lichen by John Wyndham, and this one is definitely showing wear and tear a bit more than the other one. I couldn't leave it behind, and this cover actually freaks me out quite a bit. Both of these are John Wyndham books that I have really wanted to read. John Wyndham is one of those authors who I think is really, really good at really intriguing premises that I really want to read. He's also an author who I want to read all of his books, so I couldn't turn down two of his books secondhand, and those were £2 each in Oxfam. That's everything that I have acquired so far in January and February of 2024. As you can see, the book buying did not stop at the end of January as I had hoped. Hopefully I can read enough in February that the giant TBR doesn't just keep skyrocketing, and hopefully I can stop buying books every time I go anywhere. That would be nice. That would really keep the TBR a bit more under control. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear from you. Do let me know in the comments whether you've read any of these or recommend any of these, and have you bought any books lately? Do let me know what your latest bookish purchases have been. I would love to hear. It would make me feel slightly less of a book addict if I was to hear that you've all been buying books as well. And if you don't have a comment to make today, I would love you to leave me an emoji. Perhaps some shopping bags or books would be appropriate. If you have enjoyed this video today, I would love it if you gave it a like, and if you would consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will hope very much to see you all again soon for another video all about books, hopefully not ones that I have bought, here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now.